Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and today I'm coming to you with a little bit different type of video than I normally do. This is going to be more of an opinion/explanation video. I get asked a lot, why in the world do you use vertical foregrips on your rifles? In fact, some of my subscribers even call them girly grips. Well, I have very specific reasons. Now, I know that this is an opinion and you are free to disagree. Some people like them, some people hate them. Some people like different types of grips, like angled foregrips. I feel that you need to use the type of accessory and grip that you feel most comfortable with. And just because somebody uses a different grip doesn't mean that they're wrong, you're right, they're right, you're wrong. It's all about personal preference and what you like and are used to, and of course your situation. For me personally, there are two main reasons why I like to use vertical foregrips, and I will also explain why I set them up the way that I do. The first reason I think is a little bit superficial, and I will completely agree with that. And that reason is anti-gunners and many anti-gun politicians for some reason think that the vertical foregrip makes the rifle that much more scary, that much more dangerous. And here in the United States, many times when it comes to assault weapons bans, this is an accessory that is banned by name. That just because you have a semi-automatic rifle and it has a vertical foregrip, that it is somehow a super evil rifle. Well, if you know anything about American history and American culture in general, if you want to get anybody interested in buying or using a product, we'll just have the government ban it. Because once they ban it, once the government says you can't have that thing, you can't do that thing, well, pretty much all Americans want to have that thing or do that thing. That's just the way it works. Americans are very rebellious. So just the fact that I have the vertical foregrip on my rifle is kind of a big middle finger to many anti-gunners and politicians. So as I said, I know that's a little bit of a superficial reason, but it's kind of part of my political philosophy and my Second Amendment philosophy. But I also have another reason, and that is I have rheumatoid arthritis. I know I don't talk about it too often here on the channel, and sometimes when I'm out here filming, I don't even mention that I'm in a lot of pain. Now, the past year or so, I've been on some medication, been seeing a rheumatologist, and I've really gotten it under control, but it used to be very, very bad. If you're unfamiliar, rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease where your body attacks your joints, and many times it's in the extremities, your feet, your hands, but it can affect other joints such as your elbow and shoulder, and even your jaw. And I get these random pains from time to time. I always describe them as feeling like a sports injury, even though I didn't do anything, I didn't hyperextend any joints. It's just that my body goes, I'm going to attack the wrist today. And it just does that. So I have to deal with it and just deal with the pain. And I've had to come up with ways that I can do daily activities while in pain or have a limited range of motion. Now today I'm actually feeling really, really good. I have no pains, all my joints are working like they should. But when I have pains, especially in my hands, which is where I get most of my attacks, my right and left hand, in fact I have some joint degeneration in my right hand and in my right wrist due to me being diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis a little bit too late. I actually have early onset rheumatoid arthritis. Normally this is something that attacks people that are a little bit older than I, but I've been dealing with this for about 10 years and never even knew it. So as I said, I have a little bit of joint degeneration. But when it comes to shooting, sometimes due to the limited range of motion or the pain or the ability of the joint to move in a certain direction, having a vertical foregrip actually makes shooting a lot more pleasurable. So for example, if I didn't have this vertical foregrip and I had to hold the rifle in a more traditional way where my hand would be up and supporting the rifle, it's actually a non-natural way of moving the wrist. Because if you ever shook someone's hand, when you raise your hand up, you don't turn your wrist upward. You just simply raise the wrist up and your wrist is straight. That is the same way that I like to hold my rifles, because since I'm not bending my wrist, if I have any pain or range of motion issues, it can cause a lot of discomfort. In fact, if I didn't have the vertical foregrip and I had an attack in my wrists and I had to turn my hand this way, it's almost impossible to do. I'm in a lot of pain and a lot of discomfort. This keeps the motion of the wrist very natural for me. Now, one of the things you'll notice that I never do, and sometimes it's hard to tell on camera, is I never do what a lot of people think you should do with a vertical foregrip, and that is just grab it like this. This is actually the wrong way to use a vertical foregrip. I like to use it kind of a halfway point between an angled foregrip and kind of a traditional rifle hold, in that my hand is usually really up, and here I'll do it from this side. So I'm not doing this, I actually bring it up where I have 1 or 2 fingers on the rail, and I'm kind of halfway between what I guess you would think of as an angled foregrip, but my wrist is still straight, and this would allow me to use any type of accessory. Like in this case, I have a pad for my light on this side, and this is my home defense rifle. This is very natural for me, and if I'm having some type of RA attack, this will not affect my wrist because I'm not bending the wrist in an unnatural way. And this is one of the things too, that when it comes to fighting assault weapons bans in court, that I think that lawyers and attorneys need to think about. And I wish I was a lawyer or attorney. I've spent a lot of time in school. I could have done both. I could have been a musician and an attorney, but I chose just to be a musician. But I think I would have been a darn good attorney if my life would have been a little bit different. But when it comes to attacking these assault weapons bans, one of the ways that I wish that they would attack this is using the Americans with Disabilities Act, essentially saying you cannot deny an American citizen equal protection under the law or a right simply because they have a physical impairment. And so people that might have issues with their limbs, might have disabilities such as amputations. A lot of times accessories like telescoping stocks can help people of different sizes or different disabilities. Same thing with different types of grips that would fall under assault weapons ban classifications actually bring the Second Amendment to people that might have some type of impairment. And there is a very good case to be made that things like vertical foregrips can help people like myself with rheumatoid arthritis, or the pistol stabilizing braces that people that have issues like amputations or have weak arms due to some type of injury, they serve valid purposes. Now, when it comes to me setting up my vertical foregrips, I always like to run them in the middle of the rail. I've heard a lot of people say that when you do run a vertical foregrip, it needs to be as far out as you possibly can, because that's going to give you the most amount of control as close as you can to the muzzle. For me personally, that's another awkward thing. Sometimes, as I said, I have RA in my elbows, and if I put my arm out too far, it can actually be uncomfortable. I have found that running them right in the middle of the rail is about perfect for me. I'm able to hinge the gun open. The vertical foregrip will not mess with the magazine, but also it's not too far out that I have too much weight out forward and my elbow is hurting. Another reason that I will put the vertical foregrip in the middle, especially on longer rifles like this one that you see right here, is that it still allows me to bench rest the rifle. So a lot of times if you go to a range, you have a sandbag or some type of item or a bipod that you can install on the front and allows you to rest and bench rest it for more accurate shooting. The vertical foregrip does not get in the way. If the vertical foregrip was further out, that would prevent me from doing that, and my only option would be to rest the barrel on the sandbag or whatever type of item I have, and that can cause issues as well with accuracy, plus the barrel is going to get extremely hot. Another reason that I put it here in the middle on the longer rifles is if I do choose to hold the rifle in a more traditional way, I have plenty of space on the handguard to do so. So I can still hold the rifle this way or out further, which I know a lot of people prefer, especially a lot of those tactical operators that like to do the C type of hold where you have your thumb over the rail. So you can still have the vertical foregrip and shoot that way. It just gives you a ton of options. And for someone like myself that has to deal with rheumatoid arthritis and a lot of joint pain from time to time, having these options can make shooting much more pleasant and much more enjoyable. So it's not always, I think it's the tactical thing to do, it's an actual, I don't want to be in pain thing. So when people ask me, why do you have your vertical foregrips on all of your rifles? Why do you like them set up the way you do? Well, that is why. Now, of course, this is my personal opinion. But one thing that you guys that don't like vertical foregrips will just have to get over is that there are people out here in the world that are in pain and can't physically do the same things that you do. The vertical foregrips allow me to hold my rifle in a way that reduces pain. As I said, right now, I'm feeling great and I can hold the rifle in any way I want. But tomorrow I can wake up and without purpose or reason, my wrists can be hurting me. But I still have to go on throughout my life and I still have a Second Amendment right to go to the range and shoot. Plus, I gotta bring you guys content. So that is why I like vertical foregrips, and I run them the way that I do, and I set them up the way that I do. You don't have to like them. You don't have to put them on your rifle, but I don't think that they're bad, and they do serve a purpose. It's not just because they're tactical. They actually help me enjoy shooting so much more. So there you go. Do you guys have any vertical foregrips on your guns? Do you like them, not like them? Do you have any accessories that help you shoot because you have some type of pain or disability or range of motion issue? Remember, the Second Amendment belongs to all Americans, regardless of disability, race, sex, gender. You need to have the accessories on your gun that make the gun fun, pleasant, accurate, and safe to shoot. So there you go. So let me know if you have any thoughts or comments or questions in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.